David Plouffe, just in the last hour, a couple of hours, telling Aaron Burnett he thinks there is a plausible path to all of the
them.
7 battlegrounds.
Yeah.
I mean, plausible is doing a lot of work there, but I mean, you can see it because when all of these races are within a point, anything is possible or plausible.
You know, it takes me back to when I was on the campaign in 2020, and we ran a full effort in North Carolina, we ran a full effort in Georgia and all the other now existing battleground states. And we said the same thing, and it was true. There were multiple ways to 270. And one of the reasons why campaigns do this is so that if a North Carolina gets called early for Trump, not to cause pandemonium for voters, be patient, wait it out. It might take a couple more months. It is better to have multiple paths than one. And if we remind ourselves, several months ago, there was really one path before the top of the ticket switch. So now there are a couple options. There's some mixing and matching. You know, history tells us the blue wall usually moves together. But I really do think that this is the first presidential, I know this is the first presidential after a pandemic. There are so many things in voter behavior, voter migration that we just don't know, that I think we can't take account, which is why so many of us are not predicting the outcome.
You know, it's so interesting, Scott Taylor. The Trump campaign, Trump and Vance have had 14 events in 14 days in North Carolina.
Sure.
North Carolina. He has to really, if he wants to have the best shot at winning, he really needs to hold on to North Carolina. What does that tell you?
I think he will. I mean, you talked about voter migration. Well, North Carolina's had a lot of that, right, into the Research Triangle area and other parts of North Carolina. So, look, clearly they saw something in some of the data that they need to make sure that they pay some attention to it. But I think that's fine. You mentioned Pennsylvania, Harris has to win there. I think Michigan's actually a sleeper. I think Dr. Bullis is Tiffany Trump's father-in-law, and I think he's not talked about a lot, but he's been in Michigan speaking to Arab communities, speaking on Arabic language television, speaking to Lebanese Christians and other groups and stuff. And quite frankly, they've made a lot of inroads in those communities. And then obviously with Rashida Tlaib not endorsing Harris, and then you've had the Yemeni American mayor endorse Trump. I mean, Michigan to me is an outlier that might go in Trump's way.
I think one of the most surprising things that I saw from that interview with David Plouffe is that when they asked him, Aaron asked him, do you think that she could win all of the battleground states? And he didn't hesitate. He said, yes. And I think part of the reason is not just the multiple pathways, but they are seeing already in the data, in the early vote data, that it's looking really good for Democrats. I know Republicans are also touting the early vote data, but if you really dive into it, Democrats are way overperforming where we were in 2020. They have, I think it's like a 400,000 vote lead, mostly everywhere.
No, not in early voting.
Yes, in early voting.
Are you talking
I
just
spoke
when
to
you
the
say
people who are looking at and
Are you
analyzing
talking
the data
about
in early
across the
voting.
country, a 400,000 vote lead?
The battleground states.
The battleground
It's like
states.
350,000
I mean, Democrats
vote
are
lead.
down
I will show you.
Democrats are down about 600,000 or 700,000 ballots just in Pennsylvania versus 2020. Now, I agree with what you said, which is it's hard to compare the data from 2020 to 2024 because of voter behavior, because of the pandemic. So I have resisted just swallowing the party talking points on early voting because we just don't know how people are going to change their behaviors. Look, to me, for Trump, it's always been a 3-state campaign: Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina. You win those 3, you're going to be the president. And so it makes a lot of sense to me why they'd be in Pennsylvania and North Carolina. Georgia seems that we haven't been talking about it as much, but to me, if Trump wins them, he's in, and I think that's it's a good place to spend your time.
It's such a huge focus. I mean, obviously, but one of the things that's fascinating to me is this weekend, the Harris campaign had a huge number of volunteers on the doors. And just in one day, they said that they knocked on more than 800,000 doors. David Plouffe gave a stat, 2,000 doors a minute. That's a lot. And that comes not just from a campaign that has money and a campaign that has organization. It comes from just people wanting to give up their Pennsylvania, want to give up their Saturdays and their Sundays to do this the weekend before the election.
I don't want to do my late thing, but there's a mayor in Reading, Pennsylvania, from Puerto Rico, Moran, and he actually was interviewed and talked about their ground game now, and then of course the comments from the comedian before. And in his mind, it's too little too late. When he finished winning, he's a Democrat mayor. When he won his race last year, Trump 2024 took over his office space and were on the ground. And he said that he thinks that they've made so much inroads in the Latin community there that it's just too little too late.
It'll be that. I think that's going to be
what he said.
that's going to be a fascinating
let me
story.
let me share with you some
find out what
data that I got from a pollster who is part of the consortium that is doing the exit polls. He has been analyzing specifically the Latino vote in Pennsylvania. He measured from before the Madison Square Garden rally to after the Madison Square Garden rally, and there was a jump of 10 points among Latinos, mostly Puerto Ricans, but the Latino community in general in Pennsylvania. He is seeing that everywhere. This comment from Madison Square Garden.
From the comedian.
From the comedian, but not just the comedian. The whole Madison Square Garden rally was a hate rally that attacked almost every single voting group.
Even a Nazi rally.
A Nazi rally.
You know, the risk.
But it's important to say.
And so those movements we're seeing.
I think the risk that she's talking about is, you know, there's some other numbers. I'm not going to cite them because we're not going to focus on polls right at this moment that suggest that how it was viewed was as a statement of values of the Trump campaign, which is kind of a worst case scenario. It was from a comedian, but if the voter says, "Oh, well, they think that of us," that's a problem.
So two things
taking
on that. Two things on that. One, I understand that's what the media said. That's what Democrats said for weeks. But the other thing is when you mentioned about the Latino vote, it's important to say that Donald Trump doesn't need to win the Latino vote. He's just got to really encroach on her numbers. And she's already underperforming Biden.
She's not, though. She is not. I can show you the numbers, Scott. This is what Republicans are saying and thinking, but that's not the case.
But it's
Democrats
also
saying that.
about how many of those voters were already going to vote, and they were traditional in-person day of voters. And so the question is, have they cannibalized their day of election turnout so that it does the cushion that Democrats have? It will help Democrats in the long. So it's not just looking at it in isolation. I totally agree with you on the slivers, but I also think that's why the gender gap is so important. Because white women in 2016 were the headline that did not vote for Hillary Clinton and voted for Donald Trump. And the trends are showing that those independent, even some Republican and Democratic white women, that gap between Harris and Trump is significant.
So
And that's what you're seeing in the early vote as well.
I think that you know, look, there are 2 points. One, you know those game shows where you have to get like a whole bunch of stuff in a shopping cart for like under $300, right?
Supermarket sweepstakes.
Yeah, they're right. So like if you go $1 over, what put you over? Was it the can of beans?
Right.
Was it the celery?
Always the peanut butter.
It could be the peanut butter, whatever it is. We can do that with all sorts of demographic slices about how we get here. And so you can say it was one group or another group. But, you know, white women are such a huge part of the electorate.
Exactly
And
right.
I think
part of the election.
yeah, and
That's
the Madison
exactly
Square
right.
Garden rally, whatever it did or did not do to the Latino vote or Puerto Ricans and Allentown and all that kind of stuff, it gets back to this point I was making at the beginning about Kamala Harris's closing argument about people who are sick of the drama.
Yeah.
And just the general tone and tenor of that coverage, along with Donald Trump doing, you know, some weird things with the microphone and a dozen other things, it tips those people who are just like, I don't want to have this in my headspace for another next 4 years.
Right.
You move the white women vote 1 tick, 2 ticks over. That's more important than
big.
the Latinos.